Yeah. Holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen. Bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothespins. He's a beast when he goes in, ice cold frozen. The first round draft pick, number one chosen. Drop bombs, explosion, I'm self-promotion. And I keep shit moving like a flanker in motion. I'm the number one spokesman, it's my devotion. That I'm dedicated to the rhyme is my own notion. Brown water's the potion, it put hair on your chest. Or you could put one in the air and it'll put you to rest. Sweet dreams, I'm about to fade. I got my mind on my money and I'm dreaming about getting this all paid. Mr. Go-Getter, Mr. Assertive, Mr. Initiative, Mr. Results, man, I'm all about my business, kid. Damn.
Results and business on a suddenly not so casual Thursday evening in December, the last one of 2023. It is Sharky Waters Nation. It is the Shark. It is the Gun. Guns Picks. What's going on, brother?
Man, oh man, Thursday night football is not only going to be NFL, but we're going to be giving you the college plays that pay the bills. And listen, if you watched last Thursday, you know what happened. I gave you 3 dogs in college football. Guess what happened? Winner, winner, winner. And also I gave you like 2 NFL plays. Those are winners. So 5-0 sweep. We're going to be doing it once again here tonight. I'm ready to go, Shark. Let's get to it.
8:15, Cleveland, Ohio, out of division AFC football. Not what the NFL scripted back when they made the schedule. Expecting Rodgers, Watson, we're getting Simeon, Flacco. Who would have thought the intrigue of pro football in an injury-ridden campaign for quarterbacks? Going to the Gun, the first official of the broadcast, Cleveland Browns in the first half at -4.
Listen, I live near the Baltimore area, and I'm telling you what, the fans of Baltimore miss Flacco, and then you got the Cleveland Browns fans just taking the benefits of that. But let's talk about this game here. Let's talk about the prop on this one. Let's talk about Joey Flacco in particular. I want to talk about him because of how he's done as an offensive player. Last 3 games, he put up over 300 yards of passing offense versus his opponents. However, look at the teams that he's played since he's become the starter versus when he took over for the Cleveland Browns. He played the LA Rams, right? Ranked 22nd versus the pass. Jacksonville, ranked 29th versus the pass. Chicago, ranked 25th versus the pass. Houston, ranked 26th versus the pass. They're going against a New York Jets team that is ranked 2nd in passing, opponent passing yards and yards per play, and passing touchdowns allowed. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult element for Joey Flacco in this spot, even though they're playing at home. The line is telling you the story here. Like I said, last 3 games, he put up over 300 yards passing, and the line is sitting here at 233 yards passing for this prop. I think Joey Flacco goes under this on this one. I think he's going to have to rely a little bit more on the run. I think it's going to be a little bit of a rock fight in this one, especially on a short week. I know we like takeovers in Thursday night football. However, 2 great defenses, number 1 versus number 2 in this spot. Give me Joey Flacco under the 233.5 passing yards, 1.5 unit play.
Guns, are you going to tell us why you like the first half?
And I'll tell you why I like the first half. I'm sorry. That's why I'm a little bit distracted with the Kansas State and NC State game in my background. I'm going to turn this off for you for a second. I'm going to put the peripherals to this game here. Let's talk about the first half of this game. So I looked at this from a point differential perspective. So you look at Cleveland, ranked 13th in first half scoring on the offensive side, 14.3 points per game under Flacco, however. So that team is actually doing better with Flacco running the offense. But you look at the other side of the spectrum for the offensive side of the New York Jets, ranked 29th versus the first half, 7.2 points per game, 6.7 points per game on the road. Cleveland on the other side, when you look at the defensive side, ranked 11th in opponent offensive scoring in the first half, 10.2 points per game given up. But at home, very different story. They only give up 6 points per game and ranks them 2nd in the NFL. But when you look at the other side with the Jets, ranked 26 in opponent first half scoring on the defensive side, get up 12.5 points per game, 13.3 points per game on the road. But then you look Cleveland. This is the best stat I found on this one. Cleveland, what's the situation? They're playing at home outside of the division in the first half. You look at these the teams that they played outside of the division at home in the first half. Tennessee led 13-3 plus 79 net yard average. San Francisco trailed in that game, the only trail that they've had all season at home in the first half versus non-divisional opponents, 10-7. But this was a San Francisco team that was undefeated at the time, had not lost a game, and was arguably the best team in the NFL. Still, I would suggest that they might still be the best team in the NFL, regardless of the loss versus the Baltimore Ravens. They had plus 40 net yards versus the San Francisco 49ers at home. Then you have the Arizona Cardinals led 13-0, plus 162 net yards. Jacksonville 17-7, plus 137 net yards. And then they had to play Chicago, the red hot Chicago team. They were tied at the half at home, 7-7, minus 130 net yards. That is kind of an outlier because you're just playing a red hot team in the worst time. So at first half stats, plus 5.4 point differential, plus 78 net yard average. First half at home versus non-divisional opponents. You look at the other side, I'll skip all the rigmarole with the New York Jets. New York Jets outside the division on the road, minus 1.5 point differential, plus 4 net yard average. And you look at the corollary. Line full game is 7.5. I've seen 4.5s out there. I've seen 4s. That it leads to 60% to 55% of the total in the first half of the spread in the first half that is projected to go to Cleveland. I think this is a good spot to go take Cleveland in the first half. I miss this 7 in the hook. I don't like 7 in the hook. It's past a key number. I'm going to play first half on this one. Give me Cleveland minus 4, 2-unit play.
Yeah, and just jumping off it, unofficially for me, but I do back this play. I'm probably tailing this for a small unit myself, like I did the other day, unsuccessfully with the Philadelphia play. But we are here Saturday now on Thursday Night Football Week 17. Just jumping off what the gun said, I think this is just a beautiful situational reversal from what you saw last week for the Jets. Trevor Siemian, start one at home, absolutely electric out of the opening kickoff, 27-7 against the Commanders. It is purely very difficult to sustain that type of energy with from the opening kick going on the road on a short week to a team like the Browns. And as you mentioned, I think situationally for Flacco here, coming off of a road game, performing well out of division within the AFC against Jacksonville in the first half, and a lackluster one, home game 2 against NFC Chicago. This is much more correlated to how they came out against Jacksonville. I think you're onto something here. And as you mentioned, the line is telling you a story. The split is heavy in the first half, 4.5 on a 7.5. That is showcasing exactly what we're talking about here. Two officials from the gun. Cleveland first half minus 4 and under Flacco 233.5 passing yards. Segueing to college football, the Gun's watching college football. NC State in motion. There is a buy hat. We will wait on that. Dropping one total now. Gator Bowl, Clemson versus Kentucky. The only total of this broadcast under 45.
Yeah, I'm going to be dropping this as a show, but if you want the rest of the plays that I've been giving out first half, second halves, but I've been dropping them in the Slack channel. I have a link in my bio. Go check that out. I drop them periodically. They're very quick, so you have to go grab them now. It's very hard to post on Twitter. But anyways, let's talk about this total here versus Clemson and Kentucky. So you have Kentucky coming off you basically have Kentucky coming off 7-5 straight up, 6-6 ATS. This is a 2-5 straight up in their last 4 games. Clemson on the other side, 8-4 straight up, 6-6 ATS, winning 4 straight in their last 4 to end the season. The success of Kentucky is going to be the run game, right? They have Ray Davis, a transfer from Vanderbilt, 5.7 yards per carry. If Kentucky wants to get it going in this game, they're going to have to do it in the run game and they're very one-dimensional in that element. But Clemson on the other side, when you look at the run game, they average 4.5 yards per carry with 2 running backs in Phil Mata and Will Shipley. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I think this is going to be a very run-heavy game down to the trenches. Absolute rock fight in this one. But when you look at both run defenses, very good against the run. Clemson holding opponents to 3.7 yards per carry. Kentucky holding opponents to 3.3 yards per carry. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying the rock fight. Then you look at the passing defense on this one. Granted, Kentucky has been susceptible at giving up the pass. However, you need 2 teams to get over a total. Clemson is one of the best passing defenses in the league. They're ranked 3rd in the country in opponent yards per play, giving up only 5.3 yards per play. Kentucky is 65th in that regard. When you look at Clemson in yards per game to their opponents, they're ranked 6th in the country, only giving up 171 yards per game passing. where Kentucky is ranked 83rd. Kentucky is also a team that likes to take their time to move the ball. They are one of the slowest teams as far as the offensive production is concerned and getting plays off. They're ranked 122nd in seconds per play. So I think this is why this team is going to kill clock, and it's going to be very hard to score in this one. Also, you got to look at the averages of these totals. This was something that really caught my eye here. Kentucky's average total is 54 points per game in every single game overall. Clemson on the other side, 49 points per game, and the total here is sitting at 45. It tells you something here. This is a problem. But when you look at these teams on neutral fields, different story. Kentucky 5-2 to the under, dating back to 2016, 6-3 to the under versus non-conference opponents, and then you have Clemson on a 3-0 to the under streak at neutral sites since 2022, 6-1 to the under since 2020. So I think this is going to be a key element here. It's going to be a rock fight. It's going to be a very low-scoring game. I think maybe Clemson will control the game in this one. However, bowls are weird, and I think this is going to be a real defensive fight here. So I'm not hitting the side. I'm sticking to the total. Give me the under 45 in the Clemson-Kentucky game, 2.5 unit play.
Yeah, not a lot of commentary from me on this one. Obviously, these teams haven't played since 2009. I was somewhere in the middle of New York City. The gun was traveling around the world, getting into the business mode of the gun. And staying with business, let's talk football on Saturday, December 30th, the day before New Year's Eve. The Buy Hat is engaged. Big time stuff. Peach Bowl in Georgia, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Interesting matchup, Big Ten versus SEC. I think the total here at 48.5 telling you a story that Penn State will probably control this game and the gun with an official on Penn State.
I love Penn State. I love Penn State in bowls, and I love them in the Peach Bowl on the turf in Atlanta, Georgia, because I've seen this before. I've seen them against Washington, and they have done exceptionally well. But let's talk about where these two teams have come from to date. Penn State coming to this game 10-2 straight up, 9-3 ATS. Their only losses this season were against the aforementioned Michigan and Ohio State. But we look at Ole Miss, they're in kind of a similar boat, right? 10-2 straight up, 6-4-2 ATS. Only losses this season were against Bama and Georgia. So both teams are coming in the similar spot as far as wins and losses are concerned. Ole Miss versus non-conference opponents. We can go talk with these numbers. Both teams do dominate versus non-conference opponents. Plus 35 point differential, plus 192 net yard average, plus 4 turnover ratio for Ole Miss. Penn State on this one, plus 48 net yard point differential, plus 290 net yard average, plus 1 turnover ratio for the Nittany Lions. And then guess what? Penn State's strength on this one, and I think this is what is going to benefit this Penn State team in this cap here. Their defense is one of the best in the country. They hold their opponents to 223 yards of total offense, 2.1 yards per carry on the ground, 155 yards per game in the passing. They're ranked number 1 in opponent yards per game and yards per play. They also get to the quarterback very well. They have a plus 16.4% sack rate, which is ranked number 1 in the country. This is a great defense that the Penn State's going to be bringing to the table in this game. When you look at Ole Miss, they've just significantly underperformed outside of their home stadium. They have a minus 3 point differential, minus 28 net yard average, 2-2-1 ATS on the road. This is not a team that loves to travel at all. Penn State offense should click in this one. Drew Aller is a dog. Even though he hasn't played, like when the lights are the brightest, he has faltered in a lot of these cases, but he had to play Michigan. He had to play Ohio State. This is not Ole Miss. Ole Miss is not at that caliber yet. But he has 23 touchdowns, 1 INT this season. So he's actually been productive, efficient, and he doesn't make mistakes. Ole Miss has been exposed versus good offenses, too. They've allowed 300-plus yards passing to 4 opponents this season. We're talking about Georgia Tech, LSU, A&M, and Georgia. Also, you can look at Penn State as a road favorite. It's the best. 9-1 ATS on the road, 8-3 ATS versus non-conference opponents made to 2021. Ole Miss 1-4 ATS as a road dog, 8-5-1 ATS versus non-conference opponents. But I think Penn State is going to be the one that's going to be highly motivated in this. And listen, a lot of people saying a lot of shit about Penn State, right? They can't beat the big opponents. This is a big opponent here. And I think in a bowl game where Ole Miss, to me, it doesn't matter to them, they will falter in this spot here. And I'd rather trust the Big Ten rather than the SEC in these spots, and we'll get to the next game in a second. But give me Penn State here, -4.5, 3-unit banger.
Taking a breath. First collaboration of the broadcast. We're going to skip the 5 o'clock. We're going 8:45, and we're talking the only collaboration: Texas -4 Sugar Bowl, 8:45 p.m. New Year's Day 2024. I am excited for it, and it is the Shark and the Gun. We appreciate you guys interacting. Fallish Hound in the house. Lex Joseph, ride the baby out of the water. Let's talk this game. We talked this before. Washington somehow snuck out the Pac-12 championship game. And we said to ourselves, how is this team still undefeated? And I'm going to go through it again. We have a minute, so let's do it. Boise State, garbage. Tulsa, garbage. Michigan State, worst team in years. Cal, garbage. Arizona, almost lost. Oregon, almost lost. Arizona State, almost lost. Stanford, horrible. Barely beat them. USC, one of the worst defenses in the conference. Got them by 10. 7-point game against Utah, barely escaped Corvallis on November 18th, barely beat Wazoo, who was very down this year at the back end of the campaign, and yet another one-possession game against Oregon, almost the same exact score, 34-31. This team has been flirting with it all year. This team is borderline a mirror of TCU last year. TCU got absolutely clobbered in the college football playoff when they got a quality check out of conference. And you go to Texas very, very briefly. Steve Sarkisian has these guys absolutely balling. Not only does he have them balling, I think a very, very important point here. Out of conference week 2 did beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa, 34-24. One of the best non-conference wins in all of FBS football this year. I love this play. It's my top play of the entire college football card, which has not gone well for me at all, and I will say that. But we're staying the course. It will be January of 2024. We will get off the schneid with this banger of a play, and it is a collaboration with the Gun.
You have to understand this. You're good against when the games matter. The games are starting to matter now. This is a game that matters, and I'm going to throw this hat out here, and the buy hat is engaged. We are on the Longhorns. Hook 'em horns here. I got him at -4. It's a 4-unit banger for me. I hit 4-unit bangers. I am so confident the Longhorns are going to get this done. And you know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because Texas is coming in this game 2-1, 12-1 straight up, 7-5-1 ATS, and off a Big 12 championship. Absolutely domination against Oklahoma State. When you look at Washington, this one 3-0 straight up, 6-1 ATS, and won a Pac-12 championship. This is fool's gold when you look at the Huskies, and I'll get to that here in a second. Plus 14-point differential for Washington overall this season, plus 72 net yard average. Texas, on the other hand, tougher schedule, tougher opponents, but they had a plus 18-point differential, plus 154 net yard average. Then you got to look at Texas versus non-conference opponents, and guess what? They were putting Bama in there, by the way, a team that won the SEC and is in the college football playoff. They have a plus 19-point differential, plus 133 net yard average, plus 5 turnover ratio. Then, as Shark alluded to, you look at non-conference with Washington, they have a plus 35-point differential, plus 288 net yard average, plus 1 turnover ratio. But who do they play? Boise, Tulsa, Michigan State. Bottom feeders, in my opinion. Garbage. They're not even on the same level of what Texas had to go through to get to this point. Then you look at the last 4 games. Washington has regressed. Plus 4-point differential, plus 18 net yard average, plus 1 turnover ratio. They haven't played anybody. However, they played very well in an Oregon game in the Pac-12 championship. But Oregon was getting there to get the victory. Mistakes happen. That's how it works. But Texas, last 4 games, different story. Domination. Plus 22-point differential, plus 219 net yard average, plus 1 turnover ratio. This team is way better than the Huskies. And what does Texas want to do? They want to pass the ball. They average 287 yards per game in passing this season with a 67.8 pass completion rate. And then you look at Quinn Ewers. He has 9 yards per attempt passing, 21 touchdowns, 6 INTs. Texas is going against a pass defense that gives up 263 yards per game in passing and doesn't put pressure on the quarterback at all. They only have a 3.6 sack rate. Quinn Ewers is going to put a sofa lazy boy there put his feet up, and just whip balls all day. That's what the numbers are telling me here. Then you look at these teams last year. They played in the Alamo Bowl. This is a rematch. Washington won this game 27-20 as 3-point dogs. This is a revenge factor. Take it for what it is. It's a grain of salt. Texas wants this game badly. Texas is completely the better team and arguably maybe the best team in college football, statistically. We will see when we get to the championship game, maybe different opinions on that one. But I'm going to be taking Texas. I've already given a 4-unit play. I gave you one on Rutgers. Guess what? Run it back, baby. Texas -4, 4-unit banger. Let's go.
No doubt, no doubt. And shout out to our guy in the chat. Send me a DM on Twitter. We will resolve that. We have a brand new chat, and we appreciate you guys supporting us. And it is not animosity, our guy. Chill out a little bit. It's all good. And stay in the course. Last play of this broadcast and the last play until the national championship game. Going to the gun, 5 o'clock, Los Angeles, California, the Rose Bowl, taking Michigan on the money line. Another banger, -125.
Yeah, every time I see the Rose Bowl, I always go, coming to you live, oh, Nelly from Pasadena, California, the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. And we got to hear a banger with Alabama and Michigan. Where's Michigan coming from? 13-0 straight up, 7-5-8-1 ATS off another Big Ten championship, third consecutive college football playoff appearance for the Michigan Wolverines. And I think this might be the best team that Jim Harbaugh has put together for this game. Bama, on the other hand, back at the college football playoff after a 12-1 straight up 9-4 ATS season, winning the SEC championship over their aforementioned rival in the Georgia Bulldogs. What's the strength of Michigan in this game, and what's going to decide this game is Michigan's defense. One of the best in the country, just below Penn State. 240 yards per game given up to their opponents, 3 yards per game on the ground, 54.5% pass completion rate, 153 passing yards per game, and 9.4 sack rate. They hold their opponents to 107 yards below their season average. They have the number 2 defense in the country. Look at Bama when they play good defenses. Let's break this down for a second. They had to play Georgia. Georgia's ranked 9th in defensive production. They only put up 306 yards of total offense, 95 yards below their average, -15 net yards, won the game barely, 27-24, and that was in the SEC championship. Texas, on the other side of the ball, ranked 19th in defense, 362 yards of total offense, 39 yards below their season average, -92 net yards for the game, lost the game by 10 to Texas. Then you got Texas A&M. Texas A&M has a good defense, ranked 21st in the country, 344 yards of total offense, 57 yards below their season average, 338 net yards, won the game barely. And if you watch that game, Texas A&M had many opportunities to win that game. Luck played on Bama's side, 26-20 was the score. Bama's offense is not great at protecting the quarterback either. We've seen it all season long with Milroe. They give up 14.2% sack rate to their opponents, ranked 130th in the country. This is a team, statistically, is not your typical Nick Saban Bama team. Michigan's defense is great at putting pressure on the quarterback. They put up 9.4% sack rate. I did say that before. They're ranked 13th in the country in that statistic. So I think Michigan's squad is more experienced in this spot. Virtually the entire roster has spent their entire career going to the college football playoff and failing. They got very close with TCU last year. A lot of mistakes. Jim Harbaugh will fix those mistakes in this game. I guarantee it. Then they had to go play a Georgia team, which is arguably one of the best teams in college football history. Lost that game. So this is Michigan's time now. If they're going to do it now versus this Bama team, this is Bama's weakest team in probably a decade. Michigan's going to do it here, and I think it's going to get done with a money line win outright. Give me Michigan. Money line, -125. That's a 3-unit play.
All facts, all facts. You're buying a team that, as you mentioned, has been here before, is turned up, and this could be the last hurrah for Jim Harbaugh as he moves potentially to another program or the NFL, which I'd love to see him get back to the NFL and coach one of these young quarterbacks who are mired with horrible coaching. And stay in the course of action. That is the show for this evening, Thursday Night Football, Week 17. Circa Millions, the show, and Knowledge for College. The gun dropping 4 college plays. Gator Bowl under 45 between Clemson and Kentucky. Penn State Peach Bowl -4.5. And big time national championship semifinal officials. Michigan -125, 3-unit special, and Texas -4, a 4-unit banger. The gun tonight, Cleveland first half -4, and Flacco under 233.5 passing yards. So he'll probably get 233 on the number, and that will cash the ticket. We appreciate you guys immensely. Guys that talk about the chat, send me a DM on Twitter. No animosity towards anybody. All love and respect. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. We send you all the best vibes. Have a great night. The last Thursday of 2023. It is Sharky Waters Nation, 9 words of lifestyle. Ride the wave out of the water. Guns, a pleasure as always. Close them out with some words, and let's dominate.
Yeah, go check us out on Sunday for the Circa Million Show, where we give the top plays in the NFL. Listen, if you've been watching this show, you've been following us along, guess who's cooking? These boys right here that you're watching right now. I'm hitting at a 58% rate plus 33 units in NFL this season. So you got to be telling the plays that pay the bills, because we give these out for the low cost of $0.00. All we ask you to do is hit the like button and hit the subscribe button to the Sharky Warriors Nation channel. So let's enjoy the games tonight. Let's dominate the board. Let's dominate the board. Go Michigan. Hook 'em horns. And as always, let's keep dancing.